Welcome to AASHA's IS Institute. This is our website www.aasha.com. We upload here news, editorials and question bank on a daily basis. This is basically from the Hindu newspaper to help civil services aspirants in their preparation. Also a PDF format which can be downloaded is provided as a link here on a daily basis comprising all three. This is based on the students' demands. So presently looking at news for 9th November 2016. So these are the news items which we have picked up from the Hindu newspaper. The news which has taken all of us by shock since last night when at 9 p.m. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his public address to the nation said that rupees 500 and 1000 currency notes will no longer be a legal tender. So this has been shocking, but they say the shock aspect was important to ensure that the people who circulate counterfeit notes do not get alerted. So that is what basically is being targeted. The government has said, Prime Minister in his address said that cross-border terror is funded by forging currency notes of India. So that is what is being targeted, counterfeit notes, and also it will put a check on black money. So the move, what they are doing is that all old currency notes can be deposited in the bank or in public offices by the people from 10th November to 30th December 2016. So a limit has been provided of rupees 10,000 to be deposited per day. So this is a provision provided. Also to deposit you have to carry a identification card like an Aadhaar or a PAN card. So that will be required, and after 30th December too, these notes can still be deposited in the bank, but it can be deposited only with the RBI, not the bank, the public sector and private sector banks, only at the RBI, and that too with a declaration provided along with it. So that is there. Also for the present 72 hours, that means 3 days, the government is allowing the transaction of these currency notes at significant places like government hospitals, railway ticket bookings, state buses, airline, petrol pumps. So all these stations are accepting 500 and 1000 currency notes. So this has been the surprise decision which has been taken. Also the RBI has been made ready for this. So planning for this had been going on for months, but it was not revealed out in the public. So RBI has started printing new 500 rupee notes also plus 2000 rupee notes. So those will also be circulated into the economy starting from 10th November. And all there is no restriction on use of debit card, online transactions, credit transfers, checks, all those will still remain valid. Also all other currency notes are still valid. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has clearly given an assurance that your money is yours, you will not lose anything. So that is also provided as an assurance. So basically targeting counterfeit notes was essential because RBI says that we have security measures in place and the bank can clearly distinguish between a real and a fake currency. But for the public it is difficult. So there is a lot of fake currency which is circulating in the market. So that is the reason why this step has been taken, and of course it will bring all black money will become accountable to. So people will have to deposit all the money because black money is generally in higher denominations only. So it would be 500 and 1000 rupee notes. So they will all come into the bank. So that is a cleansing which is essential. So this is a drastic step, shocking step taken by the government, but if implemented well, it can result in many positive developments for the economy. Then the next news item again regarding this is that RBI has been printing 500 and 1000 currency denominations, and it will be a cost on the exchequer. It will cost RBI to print fresh currency because what is being done is old currency is taken out from the economy and fresh currency replacing it would all be printed. So the printing cost will have to be incurred by the government. So printing cost, it is set for a 500 rupee note, it is 2.5 rupees, 2 rupee 50 paise, and for 1000 rupee notes it is 3.17 rupees. So assuming that this will be the amount spent on each currency, fresh currency printed, so for 500 and even for 2000 if it is the same, still it would result in a cost of 12,000 crore rupees for the government for printing fresh currencies just to replace the present currency in the economy. So that is the news. Also additional security measures would of course be put in place in the 500 and 2000 currency notes which will come in the market. So that will result in a little increase in the cost as well. So that is shown here. These are the fresh currency notes which will come in the market from 10th November. So that is shown. The 2000 currency will have Mangalyaan on it. as a picture. Then the next news item again with respect to this, that move was in pipeline for months. So government has been making plans because fresh currency has to be ready and has to be put into the market immediately so that the currency which public have with them right now can be replaced. So that is shown here. Then the next news item is commercial apps will soon be able to strike open data gold. So there is Open Government Data, which is a platform, OGD. This platform has a list of around 42,000 databases or much more too from all the ministries of the government. So census related data, budget related data, data related to all ministries, agriculture, transport, commerce, all these data are collectively published by the government on this Open Government Data platform. So presently this data can be used only for academic purposes. Now the government is planning to frame a new policy under which this data can be used for providing services of commercial purposes also. So this is a new initiative taken. So there can be many innovative applications of this data. So for example, like data related to car registration. So if you know the information regarding a car, then a person can find out who all own this car. So all that information, how many hands has it passed through, all that can be known through an app which can be provided. So even census related data, like data related to health, so which diseases are more prevalent in a particular region. So then businesses can be set up accordingly. Where is the youth concentration more? What are the education levels in a particular region? So based on all these data, many innovative applications can be developed, and that will be provided to these service providers or apps, mobile apps, which will be developed. So they can charge. The government provides this data free of cost, but it says that service providers can charge for the information which they provide. So that will be processing done on their side and providing relevant information to the people. So this is an innovation done. This will also improve government's ranking worldwide. That is, global ranking presently is 39, that is on open data. So database being open, government database being open for the public. So there the ranking will also improve. Also another aspect which is of significance here is privacy. So there's a privacy filtering required to make sure that any privacy related information, any confidential information should not be revealed. So that's the reason why a chief data officer has been appointed in each ministry, which will decide that what information will go public. So this is the news. Then the next news item is BJP vows to cancel Tipu Jayanti in 24 hours if voted to power. So this is again politics going on here. Y.S. Yediyurappa, who is the BJP president in Karnataka unit presently, earlier when he had left BJP and formed his own political party in 2012, he said that he wore the Tipu sword and said that we will celebrate Tipu Jayanti. Now he has come back to BJP and now he says we are against Tipu Jayanti, and if we are voted to power, we will cancel Tipu Jayanti in 24 hours. So presently Congress-led government is in power in Karnataka. So that's why BJP leaders are protesting against this. The reason here being we'll discuss in the question bank today, because there's a complete article on the perspective page on this. So we'll discuss that. Then the next news item is Center extends AFSPA to check Naga factions. So this is regarding AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, being extended to 3 districts in Arunachal Pradesh which are adjoining Assam. So we have already discussed this in news on 6th November 2016 that AFSPA has been extended all over Assam. So now it has been extended in some regions in Arunachal Pradesh too. So the AFSPA Act is in force in various states in Northeast and also in Jammu and Kashmir. What is presently happening is, though the AFSPA extension deadline has been reached, now it is further extended. So that's why it is in news. The reason for extension of AFSPA given here is that extortion and intimidation by NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, still continues. So NSCN is a secessionist organization which has taken up arms and is demanding Greater Nagaland. So that is the demand of this organization, National Socialist Council of Nagaland. It has bifurcated into 2 factions too now. One is IM and one is NSCN-K. So named after their leaders. So this is the Greater Nagaland demand, which was originally sought by this NSCN, and this comprises of regions from Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and also some regions in Myanmar. So Myanmar is the adjoining country here, neighboring India, and these NSCN leaders also flee from the region after attacking into Myanmar. So we had also carried a strike in Myanmar also much earlier before Pakistan surgical strikes. So that also we had beaten our chest on the issue, and that had also created a controversy. But yeah, so Myanmar is the place which provides shelter, heaven to them. So government of Myanmar is also been asked to act against these terrorists from India. So they have been declared as unlawful banned organizations. NSCN had also come to a ceasefire agreement that was signed with India in 1997. So this ceasefire agreement was signed by both NSCN-IM and NSCN-K. But NSCN-IM has signed another framework agreement also in September 2015. And NSCN-K has unilaterally revoked the ceasefire agreement, and it had entered into an ambush in which many armed personnel were killed. So after that, NSCN-K has been banned again, and this leader SS Khaplang of NSCN-K is taking shelter in Myanmar. So that is known too. So because of this development, now NSCN-IM is taking over the regions which NSCN-K had control over. So the government is saying that the cessationist activities and these extortions have not ended, and both factions are still continuing with these practices. So that is the reason why AFSPA has been extended here. So that is the news. Of course, the cessation, they had come down on their demands. So they at least demand that Greater Nagaland be formed only from the regions in India. So not forming a separate nation. They actually wanted originally a separate country for themselves. Now they have come down to a demand for at least a Naga state for themselves, comprising of all the regions, Naga dominated regions in all these states. So these demands are of course not accepted. That is the reason why cessation continues, and now AFSPA has also been extended. Next is India makes fresh push to gain NSG entry. So this is regarding again the NSG meet which will take place in Vienna in November now. So that is the reason why it is again in news. This has been repeated quite often. So we have already discussed about NSG, National Nuclear Suppliers Group, comprising of 48 members. China being a member who is completely vocally against India's membership to NSG. That also it says it can be done only if there is a criteria that how non-NPT members, non-signatories of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. So India is a non-signatory. So if it is a signatory, it would not have had been difficult. But since we have not signed NPT, again repeating, we have not signed NPT because it is discriminatory. It treats us as non-nuclear weapon state and does not allow us to develop nuclear weapons. So it restricts our powers. We are not recognized nuclear weapon state. So that is why it is, and the distinction which is made between the two categories. So nuclear weapon states recognized only 5. P5, the permanent 5 members of UN, and they can only further develop nuclear weapons. Other states should not. So because it is discriminatory, that is why we have not signed NPT, and since we have not signed NPT, NSG membership is becoming difficult. USA says that we will support India and will make sure NSG membership is acquired by India. So USA completely supports us, but there are countries who are reluctant. There are countries, we had discussed this during the time of BRICS summit too, like South Africa and Brazil, which had to sign the NPT reluctantly, and then they got membership into NSG. So now they don't want to support India, who is reluctant to sign NSG sign NPT without signing it should become a member. So that is the complication here. And China is very clear. It says there should be a clear criteria about how a non-NPT member should become a member of NSG. So then once this criteria is determined, then according to this criteria, if it's fulfilled by India, India can become a member. So what China wants is that Pakistan has also applied for NSG membership. So if there's a criteria set, then once India becomes a member, then there should be no objection to Pakistan becoming a member too. So that's what is the hidden agenda here. And the thing is that in NSG, a new member can be added only by consensus. Consensus means all members should agree. Means if all 48 members agree with India's accession into NSG, then only it will become a member of NSG. So even if one country, China, does not agree, then NSG membership, acquiring that is very difficult. But what is India doing is that just NSG, but there are other countries too who are protesting against India becoming a member. They are reluctant to give their assent to this. So we are trying to convince them as well. So that is the development shown. So there is nothing that's going to happen in Vienna right now. but still the development as is shown, you can see. So China wants a two-step process, that is first draft the criteria for membership to NSG and then discuss accession. Switzerland has not given clear support. Turkey, Austria have not given clear support. Even the BRICS countries, Brazil, South Africa, have not given a clear statement supporting India in its NSG bid. Even the New Zealand Prime Minister, who was on a visit to India, also did not give a clear indication, but he has made a statement. He said that New Zealand will play a constructive role in India's membership bid in NSG. So that is the support we have got. Then this is about the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty too. The countries who have been recognized as nuclear weapon states are these: USA, Russia, China, Britain and France. So these are the 5 permanent members of UN Security Council too. The non-signatories and nuclear weapon states are these: India, Pakistan and Israel. So they are having nuclear weapons, but they are not recognized as nuclear weapon states and they are non-signatories to NPT. Even North Korea has nuclear weapons. It was a signatory to NPT, but now it has withdrawn. So that is the status here. Then this is about the nuclear power plants which we have in India too. So just for your study purposes, you can go through them too. The planned ones are also mentioned, like Jaitapur and Haripur. Then this is about the 3-stage nuclear program which has been envisaged for India by Homi Bhabha just after independence. So this 3-stage plant nuclear program means at the first stage we will use natural uranium as fuel. So uranium is also not available in abundant in India. We have to import it. What is available in abundant, the radioactive element, is thorium. So thorium is present in the monazite sand in Kerala. So this can be used, but to make this usable in a nuclear plant, it has to reach the 3rd stage. So this is the 3-stage to make sure that this thorium can be used. So mix of thorium and uranium will be a fuel in the 3rd stage. So that will be fuel coming from the 2nd stage. So first stage will use natural uranium as fuel, and the spent fuel then will comprise of depleted uranium and plutonium. So this plutonium availed here will be used along with again natural uranium in the 2nd stage. Then after this, the spent fuel, what is remaining, uranium-233, that can be used in the 3rd stage along with thorium. So this is how we can have self-sufficiency in nuclear fuel also. So this is a 3-stage program developed. So that is it in news today. Thank you.